Hello friend, welcome back. In this video, I want to discuss about that status code. I have already used some of the status code, right? Here you can say I have used that status code as a 404, but when you perfectly get all the data, that means right now there is our slash data, right? When it should be perfectly get our total data, then that will be response one of the status code as a 200. So there is the different type of status code, like if when you perfectly get some of the data, that will be display one of the status code. When it will be get some of the bad request, then that will be display another status code. And also when it will be not get any data, then that will be as a 404. That means it's not get any data, as a page not found. Okay, so different type of actually status code, and with this status code you can actually able to understand what type of issue is that. Okay, like when you get that as a 200, as I told you before, here when you pass, I have already created one of the route as a slash route, right? In this slash route area, when it should perfectly get this data, like I just show you here, that is our total API. Okay, I make it as a right now as a our home route. Okay, that is a home route. Now click as a send. Now that should be displayed as a high aryan. And when it should be get our perfect data, then you can see our status code is displayed as a 200 as okay. Okay, that is a 200. So if you want to manually pass this data, you can also pass it. Then only you have to do after that response, here you have to pass that as a status. Okay, status. Then that will be also perfectly pass that status. Whatever the status is in here, that will be pass it. And also I have discussed about another one. Just simply remember all that status code, because with this status codes you are able to get that idea what type of problem is that. Like there is a 404. 404 means it's when it should be not get any data, then that will be displayed as a 404 status codes. Okay, here then that will be displayed as a 404 status code. That means it's not get any data. Okay, it's not find any data. And also there is another status code as a 400 status code. 400 is actually used for when you get any bad request. That means if there have any issues in your request, then that will be displayed as a status code as a 400. Okay, simply just remember 400 status code is for the bad request, and when you get perfectly all the data, then that will be displayed as a 200. And when you get that as a 404, that means then it's not get any data, so then that will be displayed as a 404. And also when you create any data, okay, when you create any data, then that will be actually by default display one of the another status code as a 401. And also they have the different type of status code, like as a 201. 201 used for the created any data. Okay, when it should be created any data, then that will be pass one of the return response as a status code will be as a 201. And also there is another one as a 204. Okay, 204, that means the twos our status code will be as a 20 and then 4. 204, when you will get this type of one of the status code in your this status area, that means it's not get that content. Okay, that means they have no content, then it will be written one of the this type of one of the status code as a 204. Okay, simply remember all that status codes, because literally that will be needed if you, that is actually helpful if you understand it, because you are a programmer, you should know about that what type of signal is that. With this code you can actually get some of the idea. If you search with the Google with the status, okay, status code, you can see there is a lot of the status code. Actually you will get a lot of the status code in here. Like if you go to that HTTP response status code, okay, you can see there is a different type of status code. There's a 100 as a continue, there is a 200 is okay, 201 is created as I told you, or 201 when it will be get this type of one of the status code in here, that means that is actually as a created. This one is for the accept, 203 is for as a non-authenticative information, 204 you can say for when it will get that as a 204, then that will be displayed as a no content, and 205 as a reset content. So you will just get a lot of the code. Okay, just remember all that code, because it will actually helpful. You can see that when it will be get that as a 400, that means the bad request. Bad request means the server could not understand the request due to invalid syntax. Okay, I will recommend it to just simply understand all that code is very much important. So better to understand some of the common all that status code. Okay, so that is actually the status code. With this status code, as I told you, you will be able to understand what type of issues you are facing. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.